I see some different faces. So I am Robert Klein, not the comedian. Well, some days. He's a little larger than I am now. He hasn't gone to train at Kermeyer. Jeff Sigmund probably didn't make it over, did he? Oh, okay. He's my trainer and helped me lose 35 pounds, so I thought he was trying to make it over, but he does boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. So can't hear me. David. Hello. See, I can be a comedian. Okay. Is this set for you, though? I just unset it. Okay. So do I need to do that over again? Oh, okay. I was hoping my trainer would be here, but he's doing boot camp. He does it every Tuesday and Thursday, beats people up. It's great fun. Run around the track, lift weights while you're doing it, do 100 push-ups. I urge you all to try it. It's really good. Okay, welcome to the Campus-Wide Leadership Series. I see some new faces. I'm Robert Klein, Associate Dean for Professional Development and Faculty Affairs. I've been on this campus for 35, almost 36 years as an assistant professor, associate professor, and professor of anatomy. So that's my history, for those of you who've never seen me before. This is the Campus-Wide Leadership Series, and today we have Greg Tamblyn. And this is a collaborative effort between our office, Professional Development and Faculty Affairs, PUDFA, no U, PDFA, and that was a joke, okay, all right, and the Human Capital Management Group. They have a wellness series, and this is a shared effort, and I'm supposed to introduce Lisa Kern, who was instrumental in bringing Greg Tamblyn to campus and setting this up. So we like to partner with people. We have diminishing resources. You hear about that all the time, and this is an opportunity to partner. The KUMC Health Capital Management Group has an entire list of speakers and presentations. You probably should look at their website because there are some really good events there. A little bit about our speaker, singer, comedian, all-around good guy for today. Greg Tamblyn has spent much of the last 20 years performing across the United States, and I like these B. Did you write this? B to B, Beijing to Boston, Canada to the Caribbean, all around the world. He has delivered a message of an outrageously healthy message. Doses of humor combined with powerful songs and storytelling, delivering a relevant and entertaining message about the human side of organizational change and wellness, and we see that every day, organizational change all around us. He's a Kansas City native, but he splits time between here and Nashville. He's been on the Nashville Network. What is that? I grew up in New York. What's the Nashville Network? Oh, it doesn't exist. Okay. Is that like Bluegrass or, yeah? Spike TV. Okay. All right. He has CDs that have been released through the years. Some of those are available after the session. And here's our presenter for today, Greg Tamblyn.
Thank you, Bob. Hi, everybody. It's always fun to play for people that are chewing. It's different. It's an honor to be here, really. I was telling Bob that I come from this large medical family. We have 6 RNs, we have 5 MDs, an OT, a PA, and 1 PhD in clinical psych. My mother graduated from med school here. So did her brother, my uncle, and 1 niece. My sister got her OT degree here. So I feel connected to this place. But in order to give the family some balance, I got some different letters after my name. NCW. Anybody else have that one? NCW? No credentials whatsoever? No? Well, the truth is I did actually escape from college with a degree, a BS. In geology. That's true. I was confused. I wanted to be a rock star. But I did manage to go from geology into making a living as a full-time musician and songwriter. And after that, speaker and author. And I'm proud of that. I mean, it's hard to do. I hear jokes about it all the time. The difference between a musician and a U.S. savings bond. Eventually, a U.S. savings bond will mature and make some money. Well, when I moved to Nashville 20 some odd years ago to work as a songwriter, I found that I had to start focusing on song lyrics. Because in Nashville, the story's always been the thing. So every word, every phrase, every line is scrutinized. You don't get away with any wasted words. So as I'm paying attention to music and what the lyrics are actually saying in songs, I discovered something interesting. I discovered there are all these beautiful, great, uplifting love songs in the world. Then there are all these other songs that are kind of masquerading as love songs. Because what they're really about is emotional blackmail. They're not about relationships so much as they're about taking hostages. Some kind of emotional bondage. Now here's the fine point. Sad songs are okay. You lose somebody, it hurts. There's pain there. We have to grieve. And sad songs can help us grieve. It's when you cross the line and start asking for pain that you've moved into the realm of real sickness. Well, there are thousands of songs out there that do just this. So, as a public service, I've been collecting them. And I have this list called the Top 10 Whiny Victim Love Songs. It's really hard to get this down to 10, but I'm going to give you a few of my favorites so you can see what I'm talking about. And we're going to start with Elvis, because everybody knows Elvis, but also because I want you to try and imagine saying this to another human being. Treat me like a fool, treat me cruel, but love me. Break my faithful heart, tear it all apart, but love me. All right, here's a recent hit by the Cardigans. You've maybe heard this. So I cry and I plead and I beg. Oh, love me, just say you love me. Fool me, go on and fool me. Love me, pretend you love me. Leave me, just say you need me. Oh, is it just me, or is that relationship getting off to a rocky start? All right, country. That's always a gold mine. You must think I look bad with a smile, for you haven't let me wear one in quite a while. Still I keep coming back. How can this be? Don't you ever get tired of hurting me? We have a whole subcategory I call the death songs, because there's so many of them and they all say the same thing. Can't live if living is without you. Come on, everybody. Can't live. I can't live anymore. Wow. How'd that feel? It sounded pathetic. There's newer songs that take this concept down even farther. How can I live without you? I want to know. How can I breathe without you if you ever go? So if you leave, I quit breathing. No pressure. Here's one of my favorite all-time lines in a song. When a man loves a woman, sleep out in the rain. If she says that's the way it ought to be. Not sleeping in the rain. Not for you, darling. Here's another country song, huge hit, country hit. If you listen to country, you've heard this. Oh, I wish that I could hurt that way again. At least I had you every now and then. At times you would desert me, how the emptiness would hurt me. But your coming back was always worth the pain. Oh, I wish that I could hurt that way again. I mean, how did he sing it with a straight face? It's just so bizarre. Every once in a while you'll hear some humor written into one, and then you know that awareness is kind of dawning. Put another log on the fire. Cook me up some bacon and some beans. Then go out to the car and change the tire. Darn my socks and sold my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, fill my pipe and then go fetch my slipper. Boil me up another pot of tea. Put another log on the fire, babe. Then come and tell me why you're leaving me. And sometimes just the titles are enough. I collect titles, too. I have pages of titles of actual real songs. Like, she was pure as the new fallen snow, but she drifted. I still hold her body, but I think I've lost her mind. I'm so miserable without you, it's like you were here. You see where this is going? We could do this the whole rest of the day. There's no shortage of songs. But do you see how if we grow up, we're young, impressionable, we're innocent, we grow up listening to these songs, we might get kind of a twisted idea of how relationships are supposed to work? Does that make sense? Do you see how we might actually buy into the idea that it's another person's job to make us happy? If we get enough of that programming, and if our happiness depends on the behavior, totally on the behavior and the presence of another person, are we ever going to be truly happy? Okay, that's all the hard questions. No, probably not. Probably not. Chances are slim. You know, I don't know if we have any other guitar players here, but one of the things I love about this guitar is it has a built-in electronic tuner. So just press this little button. Can you see this lighting up? So it's great because all I have to do is play a string, and right away it tells me what note I'm playing. And that's pretty handy. Like this is an E flat. You might have known that, but I had to look. If it's flat, it blinks one way. And if it's sharp, it blinks another way. So you start to tune the string, and the blinking slows down as you get close to the right pitch. You get right on the exact right, perfect pitch. It stops blinking and turns green. Cool, huh? I always think, wouldn't it be great if they had these for relationships? Not tonight, honey, you're blinking. Sorry. Well, this little tuner is my second favorite piece of technology. My current favorite piece of technology is a shock collar I bought for my dog. Because in just 2 hours of training with this shock collar, my dog now does everything I tell her to do and nothing that I tell her not to do. Relationships are so much easier when you have total control. Yeah, technology can be quite empowering. And of course, I don't mean shock collars. But we've seen this so vividly in the last month, in the Middle East. The potential of technology to empower people. And I have no doubt that many of you see it every day in this hospital. ability of technology to empower people. And even at home, in our family lives, our home lives, technology can make things so much easier and more fun, more interesting. But at the same time, it changes pretty fast. Have you noticed that? Technology, it's like faster than mosquitoes have babies. There's new stuff out. Is there anybody besides me that ever feels like a little overwhelmed just trying to keep up? Yeah? Okay. Here we go. I was working online, I was talking on Bluetooth, downloading songs, checking email and YouTube, texting my friends, I Twittered 20 new tweets, and that's when my brain began to overheat. My BlackBerry's high-def digital camera wouldn't sync up with my printer fax scanner. The tech support guy started yakking away, lost in translation all the way from Bombay. Had to break out of this techno mood. I needed something primal, like a big hunk of food. But for a nano moment, I forgot where it is. So I Googled directions from my den to my fridge. I was so fried, I wondered how much bandwidth it would take for my iPod to download a sandwich. Deep in my hard drive, a feeling took root. My brain just might crash if I didn't reboot. All this hyper-technology is starting to pile up. The planet's on broadband, my head's on dial-up. Reality is virtually cluttered. My neural connections are starting to sputter. These gizmos and gigabytes are geeking me out. Single tasking is obsolete now. I need to slow down. My life is a blur. I got an analog brain in a digital world. I jumped in my hybrid, turned on satellite radio, strapped on my hands-free and fired up my cell phone. Almost backed over my wife on her Segway. The dashboard lit up, said I was low on latte. Where was Starbucks? I could only guess. My PDA can't do GPS. I stopped for directions and wandered in here and wound up singing to you. Isn't that weird? All this hyper-technology is streaming me crazy. I've picked up a virus called cyberspacey. The neurotransmitters in my cerebellum making gray matter chatter, but nothing is gelling. These gizmos and gigabytes are geeking me out. Single tasking is obsolete now. I need to slow down. My life is a blur. I got an analog brain in a digital world. The human brain is an amazing evolutionary marvel. It starts working before you're born and never stops until you try to learn some new software. So one of the reasons I played that song is that I've been reading a lot of studies lately about multitasking. There's a study in England, and I'm not making this up, that showed that multitasking actually lowers your IQ more than smoking dope. There's another study, the University of Michigan just finished, that shows multitasking decreases our efficiency between 20 and 40%. There's another one I just heard about on NPR that said that multitasking raises the stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, so it becomes an addictive behavior, raising those hormones. And then there's this great one I just read about that you can be part of if you have an iPhone. There's a scientist at Harvard leading this up, and if you have an iPhone and you sign up, and there's thousands of people signed up, but they still need more, so if you sign up, he will email you on your iPhone several times a day, with 2 questions. What are you doing right now, and how happy are you? Well, it turns out that the happiest people are in the bedroom doing something specific. and they're not texting while they're doing it. But overall, what this shows so far after about 8 or 9 months is that the happiest people are the people that are doing one thing, that are absorbed in one thing. And the people that are multitasking are pretty far down there on the happy scale. So the evidence seems pretty strong that these wonderful, amazing, marvelous brains, these human brains that we have, really work better doing one thing at a time. And they also seem to be happier doing one thing at a time. And if the brain's happy, we're happy. So is anybody not completely here? Okay, good. All right, let me ask you something. Who knows or who wants to guess what the number one determining factor in employee job satisfaction is? Anybody want to guess? We'll make it a contest. If you get it right, you get a prize. Just raise your hand if you want to guess, or I think you know. Yes. Relationship with coworkers is an excellent guess, but wrong. But very close to the top. Yes. Sorry. I mean, it's sort of in there, but it's not specific enough. Anybody else? Yeah. Energy? Nope. Thank you. In the back? Sorry, sitting down. You, in the back. Yes. Enjoying what you do. You would think that would be the number one factor, but it's not. Okay, who's next? Yes. What? Autonomy? No, a great guess. Flexibility? Another great guess, but nope. Anybody else? Yes. Money is... No, yes. A close parking spot. Yeah. I think that should win. I mean, that's just for creativity alone. That should win. Vacation, you would think, would be way up there. But your boss brings in homemade food. Homemade apple crumb cake. Is that what you said? Where is it now? That's what I want to know. All right, in the back. Say it again. Expected to do one thing at a time, which, would follow logically from what I've been talking about, but no. No, I tell you what, I'm going to give it to this young gal right here in the front because she was the closest. The number one factor in employee job satisfaction, above vacation, above money, above parking spaces, above all these other things, recognition, is your relationship with your boss. Boss, isn't that amazing? That's the number one thing. It's more important to people than anything else. All right, so here's your prize. Analog Brain in a Digital World CD. Thank you for playing. The rest of you have some lovely consolation gifts on the way out if you'll. So this is so interesting to me, this whole boss thing, because is it a boss's job description to make other people happy? No. No, it's a boss's job description to help people feel empowered, to take responsibility and feel empowered. And it turns out this works beautifully for every relationship, not just a boss-employee relationship. This is something that not just as bosses, leaders, managers, we can remember, but our relationships as coworkers, as friends, as family members, as strangers who meet in some incident. And I would think especially, maybe even especially as caregivers. having a mission to empower people. Especially if stuff goes wrong. You notice that in life stuff goes wrong? Stuff happens. You know, I have a great relationship with this guitar. I take care of it, and it does what I tell it to. And I love this guitar. But as much as I love this guitar, I had a guitar before this one that was really attached to. It was a bigger guitar, and it was maple. So it had this beautiful blonde finish. It was a very striking-looking guitar. And I'd been through the wars with this guitar, and we get very attached to our instruments. We have other musicians here. Who's a musician? Yeah, and we get attached, don't we, to our instruments. So I love this guitar. I'd had it for a long time. But as much as I loved it, I started having this idea that I wanted a different guitar. I wanted a smaller guitar. I wanted one that finger-picked more easily, that sounded a little different acoustically. And as the months went by, this desire got pretty strong. I started thinking, you know, I really, really do want to get a different guitar. But the process of shopping for guitars I've never enjoyed. Partly because it's hard for me to find one I like. I'm picky, and it takes a long time. You have to play a ton of them. But also because most guitar stores are staffed by what we could call young rock musicians. And this is not a knock on young rock musicians, because I used to be one a long time ago. But you can tell me if in your mind these two things go together. Young rock musicians, great customer service. It's kind of a disconnect most of the time. So I'm putting it off. I'm having this strong desire to get another guitar. I'm putting it off. Putting it off until fate intervenes in the Honolulu airport in the form of this woman I will affectionately call Attila, the gate agent. You know, Attila saw me coming, and I still don't know what her deal was. It was a power trip or a bad lunch or what, but I was walking up to the gate counter, with my guitar over my shoulder in a gig bag. Well, it's back here. You can't see it. It's a soft case. And you carry it over your shoulder, it fits overhead in the plane or hangs in the closet. And I've been doing this every week for years and years. And I get about 15 feet away from the gate counter, and she looks up and she sees me, and she points at me and says in this loud voice, "That is not going on the plane with you." And turns away. And I thought, what? You know, what is that about? That is so weird. And so I just kind of collected myself a minute, and I thought, well, she just doesn't know that I'm a professional musician. She just needs to know that. So I walk up, I give her a big smile, and I say, hey, you know what? I fly your airline every week with this guitar, and I have a concert in San Francisco. I really have to get on the plane with it, and could you? And she says, I don't think you heard me. That is not going on the plane with you. And walks off. I'm thinking, this is going to be harder than I thought. So I waited a while, and I thought, well, maybe she's worried about the load. So I just go back up, give her another big smile. I said, hey, you know what? Maybe you're just worried about the load. How about this? How about we let everybody else get on, and I'll get on last, and we'll see if there's room. Because I knew there'd be room. And she said, I've already told you twice. That is not going on the plane with you. Now decide what you're going to do and stop bothering me. And walks off. All right, now I'm worried because she's a brick wall, and the plane is boarding, and I can't check my guitar in this flimsy case. There's no protection. So I just resort to begging. And I go up to her and I just plead with her, you know, could you just work with me? Because there's something we could try. Could you just, you know, and she just stares at me and she says, you have two choices. You can leave it here or you can check it. But it's not going on the plane with you. And I could tell she meant it. So I said, okay, I'm going to give it to you, but I'm going to ask you please to ask the baggage people to put it somewhere safe. Because it's very delicate in this case. If it bounces around at all, it could get hurt. Off she goes, without a word. Well, I get on the plane. It turns out I'm in the bulkhead seat, the front seat of coach. And across from me is the little jump seat where the flight attendant sits. And the plane is taking forever to taxi, so we start chatting. And eventually I tell her the whole story of Attila, what happened. And to her credit, she listens to me, and then she's appalled. She can't believe it. She apologizes. She says, this should never have happened. You know, we have plenty of room on this plane. The closets are empty, and we're not all like this. Please don't hold it against us and our airline, because it should never have happened, and I am apologizing for our airline. And she got up to go to work, and I felt better, and I thought that was the end of it. But she evidently told all the other flight attendants, because when we get to San Francisco and it's my turn to get off the plane, all 7 of them are lined up there. And I'm walking by, and they said, hey, here's your guitar. They brought it up. And I said, great, let's look at it. And we open up the case and open it up and unzip it, open it up, and it's smashed. It's just in splinters. You know, it's like the baggage guys thought they were pretending to be the Who or something. But it's not going to be played again. So I felt bad. They felt bad. And 3 of them marched me down to baggage service. And they said, look, here's our names. Here's what happened. This guy got a bad deal. It should never have happened. We think you should make it right. And we will vouch for everything. We'll sign these statements, whatever. And then they left because it was midnight. They had to get up and go to work in the morning. So here it is. It's, you know, I'm in the bowels of the San Francisco airport, midnight, nobody around. It's just empty except for this girl across the counter who looks about 12. And she looks up at me with this sweet face and she says, I can't help you. I'm only 18. I just work here and I don't have any authority to do anything. Now, if you come back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, the manager will be here, and you can talk to her. But I have to tell you, we have a company policy. We never compensate for musical instruments. It's a strict policy. But you can come back and talk to the manager. And I believed her, so I left and went to where I was spending the night. And you know how when you're just filled up with frustration and anger, how hard it is to sleep? And I got no sleep that night because my feelings for Attila were not really something I could share with you outside of group therapy. So I got up in the morning just exhausted from this anger. And I was driving out to the airport, 30-minute drive, San Francisco airport, and I'm feeling so bad. And finally I just resorted to praying. I just said, God, you know, whatever happens, I don't care anymore. I just want to feel calm. I am so tired of feeling mad about this. I just want to feel calm. And it worked. By the time I got to the airport, I felt good. And the manager was there, and she sat down with me. I had the names of everybody. I told her the whole story, and she just sat there and listened, didn't say anything. And when I finished, she got up. She said, wait a minute, disappears. And 15 minutes later, she comes back with this other woman, this even higher manager, and they sit down. And they say, you know, we have this policy. And we don't compensate for musical instruments. And I said, I know that. I heard that. And they said, well, we've talked it over. We think we need to buy you a new guitar. I said, really? He said, yep. Just find one you like. We'll pay for it. So I got out of there before they could say anything else. And I asked my friends, where do I go in San Francisco? My musician friends out there, I said, where do I go to get a guitar in San Francisco? And they said, there's only one place, the best place. You have to go to the Haight-Ashbury Music Center. Okay, off I go to Haight-Ashbury. Now, has anybody been there lately, Haight-Ashbury? I mean, you know, because I'm from Kansas. And Haight-Ashbury is still like this little corner of the Twilight Zone. You know, where you have the 60s and like now and some future decade, I can't imagine. They're all wrapped up there together and exhibited on the sidewalk. And it's like this smorgasbord for the senses walking around Haight-Ashbury. And so I'm walking around the neighborhood looking for this store, getting a little high in the process. And finally I find it, and it's the best guitar store I've ever been in. They have great guitars. They have great salespeople. They know everything I need to know, but they don't bug me. They just come, bring me guitars. For 2 days, they just bring me guitars and answer my questions and suggest things. And after a day and a half, I find this guitar. And I knew immediately when I picked it up, it was different. It just felt so good. And I played it the rest of the day. And then they let me take it out of the store and do a concert that night. And after that, I knew this was it, for sure. I knew this was my new guitar. Well, here's the deal. I love this guitar so much. I haven't missed the old one for 10 seconds. I've never thought about it. This is a way better guitar. It's more fun to play. It sounds better. It's hundreds of dollars. $600 more expensive than my old guitar. Totally paid for by the airline. And the thing is, I owe it all to Attila, the gate agent. You never know who's going to turn out to be an angel in your life. They might not look like it at first. But it makes me think about all these little patterns and synchronicities and the ways that our lives can be interwoven that we maybe don't ever quite understand. It's just a marvelous, wonderful thing to think about. And along those lines, since we've been in this room together, something actually quite wonderful and profound has been happening that nobody knows about, that nobody in here has thought about. Something quite fantastic. And what it is that in a very scientific sense, we have been physically intimate with each other. So I'm going to sing about it. All right, so how's lunch? Everybody, yeah? Everybody looks pretty good. You know what I think would be great is if everybody just kind of, everybody looks really focused. It's beautiful. I love your faces right now. Let's just relax. Let's just give ourselves permission to kind of relax in the chair, focus on our body for just a second. Maybe take a deep breath, deep, slow breath together. Just kind of nice little after lunch. Yeah, okay. You breathe out, I breathe in. We're sharing molecules again. Oxygen and hydrogen, but do you know where your atoms have been? Parts of me were once in you. Genghis Khan and Gandhi too. Neanderthals and dinosaurs. Princess Di and Dinah Shore. All these atoms everywhere circle back so we can share. No escaping, yes, it's true. Parts of me were once in you. My whole body, smooth and hairy, it's really very temporary. Every year a new epidermis. Maybe next year's will be firmer. There's some atom somewhere in Spain I could use back in my brain. They stay a while and then they leave. They only fit what we conceive. All these atoms everywhere circle back share, like some ever-changing brew. Parts of me are now in you. As hard as it might seem to be, parts of you were once a tree, once a fish in the primal soup. Something's dinner, something's poop. 15 billion years ago, the Big Bang was quite a show. All this time and now here we are. Parts of you were once a star. All these atoms everywhere circle back so we can share. No escaping, yes, it's true. Parts of me are now in you. All these atoms we've collected only mean that we're connected, since we share what we're made of. Don't you think that calls for love? So take a deep breath, share some atoms. It's not like you have any choice. And we'll all be part of the Adams family. Now, before we leave, I just want you to turn to somebody sitting next to you. It doesn't matter who. Just turn and look at somebody sitting close by. Go ahead, do it. And just think to yourself, what a lovely bunch of atoms. What a lovely bunch of atoms. You know, some of those look like they used to be mine. Well, I hope you're enjoying them. There were these two atoms walking down the street. The first atom saw the second one. He said, "Hey, what's the matter? You look a little down." And the second atom said, "Yeah, well, I lost an electron." First atom said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "I'm positive." And I'm positive that when we feel connected and when we feel supported, we feel empowered, we feel safe. We find our way into counseling and therapy much less often. So I think connection and support are two of the most empowering gifts we can give anybody. So I'd like to leave you with that thought. I will be here as long as anybody wants to answer questions or talk about anything or get a CD signed, whatever. But I just really would love to thank you for the gift of your attention. And thank you, Marty and Bob and Lisa. Thank you all. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's great.